Welcome to another episode of The Bug Bite, hosted by yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph, where we are engineered to win. In today's episode, we're going back to these driverless robotaxis. We're going to be looking at Waymo hitting a bicyclist, a Waymo Robotaxi hitting a bicyclist, right? So let's not waste any time. Let's just jump right into the article. So today's article comes to us in way by The Verge, right? And this article is written by Andrew J. Hawkins. This article is written by Andrew J. Hawkins, the transportation editor with 10 years plus of experience, who covers electric vehicles, public transportation, and aviation. All right. So the title says Waymo driverless car strikes bicyclists in San Francisco, causes, luckily, minor injuries. The incident is currently under investigation, San Francisco police say. All right. So let's go. All right. A driverless Waymo vehicle struck a cyclist in San Francisco, causing minor injuries. It was the latest incident in the city at a time when tension around autonomous vehicles are particularly high after a driverless cruise vehicle injured a pedestrian. Let's remind, though, that injured pedestrian was hit by a hit and run driver first and knocked into the way of the cruise vehicle. All right, we have to be consistent here, right? The incident, which was first reported by Reuters, occurred at 3:02 p.m. on February 6th at the intersection of 17th and Mississippi Street in the Potrero Hill neighborhood of San Francisco. A Google Map view of the intersection shows a flat, well-lit area surrounded by warehouses with unprotected bike lanes on both streets. Police officers arriving at the scene found an autonomous vehicle had struck a cyclist who only reported non-life-threatening injuries, according to Eve. Not even going to try that. Public information officer with SFPD, the San Francisco Police Department. A passenger in the Waymo vehicle at the time of the crash was uninjured. The incident remains under investigation, this person noted. We'll say Eve noted. Waymo spokesperson Julia Ilyana had more details to share. The Waymo vehicle was stopped at a four-way stop. As an oncoming large truck began to turn into the intersection, the vehicle waited until it was its turn and then also began to proceed through the intersection, failing to notice the cyclist who was traveling behind the truck. The cyclist was occluded by the truck and quickly followed behind it, crossing into Waymo's vehicle's path, Julia said. When they became fully visible, our vehicle applied heavy braking but was not able to avoid the collision. Sounds like exactly what a human being would do, if you ask me. After the incident, Waymo contacted the police, but the cyclists left on their own, reporting minor scratches. So this time, it was a hit and run in the opposite direction. The cyclist took off from the Waymo vehicle. All right, so interesting. As driverless cars appear in more cities around the world, incidents like these are bound to increase. But because the technology is still novel, even minor crashes are important to examine to ensure that companies are taking appropriate actions in their aftermath. Last year, Waymo's chief rival Cruise was involved in a much more serious incident in which a pedestrian was struck by a hit-and-run driver, like we mentioned, launching her into the path of a driverless vehicle. The Cruise vehicle then proceeded to pull over to the side of the road, not realizing that the victim was still stuck underneath it. Yep, we reviewed that a couple of weeks ago. The detail about the pedestrian being dragged was omitted from the company's initial statement about the crash, and key footage from the car's camera wasn't received by some regulators, including the California Department of Motor Vehicles. Cruise's permit to operate fully driverless vehicles was suspended, and the company paused all operations nationwide. Waymo is said to have a better reputation than Cruise among regulators, and the company certainly is empathetic that its vehicles are proven to be safer than human-driven ones. That is most likely true, but city officials have criticized both companies for blocking roads and obstructing buses and emergency vehicles, just like humans do. So that is the article. Waymo hit a bicyclist and the bicyclist took off. Minor injuries following too close to a truck. Things happen, but and trust me, I know someone personally who was hit by a human while riding their bike in a group, and it was terrible. It was so sad to see. So you know, being bicyclists being hit by vehicles, it's personal to me, and seeing how this one was not as bad as it could have been, especially by a driverless vehicle when humans, that's why they always say watch, look twice for bikes, So let's wrap this up. So that was our article, Waymo getting into another little fender bender, but not too serious. So we're going to keep monitoring these driverless robo taxis, see how they do. They don't have any of these down here in South Florida yet, which when they do, that's gonna be crazy, like driving in places like Hialeah and stuff like that. But we shall see. Driving in Miami is a totally different beast. But when the time comes, I guess we will figure it out and see what goes from there, right? Anyways, thank you for tuning into another episode of The Bug Bite, hosted by yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, go ahead and like the video, share the video, leave me a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts on these driverless vehicles crashing all over the place. Not really, right? They're not really crashing all over the place, but I'd love to hear your thoughts nonetheless. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time we go live. If you are in need of one-on-one coaching with me, go ahead and hit me up at www.techcoachralph.dev and we can set something up from there, right? But until next week, until I see you again on another episode of The Bug Bite, I am wishing you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we are out.
If you enjoyed the fascinating information shared in this video and you want more, be sure to hit the subscribe button to Tech Coach Ralph to be notified for new videos.
Enigmatic Joker.